Small topic called weathering we are doing. Small topic called what? Weathering. Question used to come on this. Small concept of weathering. It's a very easier concept. So disaster management, geological events are over. Weathering. You know, the disintegration of big rocks, disintegration of a big rock into smaller rocks or into smaller fragments called as weathering. Now question is, how does it happen? So how does it happen? On the mechanism of weathering, it is grouped into 4 types today. On the basis of, this being very short and brief, on the basis of mechanism or how this weathering happened. And so there are 4 types. There are 4 types of weathering. So first 3 are natural, that is called physical weathering or mechanical weathering. So here which process is dominant? Here physical process is dominant. Physical process is dominant. We go into details. Or mechanical process dominant. Second called chemical weathering. So here the chemical process is dominant. Chemical process is dominant. Here the chemical process is dominant. Next is called biological weathering. Biological weathering. So here the biological agents, you have means biophysical process or biochemical process. Both the process, when biological agents like plants, animals, microorganisms are active in doing weathering, either physically or chemically, then it is called biological weathering. Last, this natural rate of weathering, is accelerated by human activities. This natural rate of weathering is accelerated by human activities. That's what, when human directly or indirectly accelerating the natural rate of weathering, and such event is called anthropogenic weathering. Man-induced weathering directly or indirectly called as anthropogenic. Anthropogenic weathering means man-induced weathering directly or indirectly called anthropogenic. So we talked about different processes or different types of weathering. This is the major types. So now each type includes some mechanism. In detail. Give these some examples of the processes involved in first type called. Understood, everyone? So physical or mechanical weathering is a weathering where physical process dominant process. Let's see, the physical process is a dominant. Then what are these and how does it act? In all these 3 natural things, guys, physical or mechanical weathering involve the actions of, first one, involve the, for prelims certain terms nowadays are coming, so just putting it. So physical or mechanical weathering involve the action of agents, on the rocks. On the rocks. There are different kind of agents. Try to understand. There are different types of agents who are operating on the rocks, existing around breakdown. So involve the action of agents on the rocks. So what are that action is? Question is, what are the different? So this action produce different subtypes of mechanical weathering. Produce many subtypes of mechanical or the physical weathering is. Many subtypes. So depending on what? The action taken by different agents on the rocks. That breakdown. First, especially few processes names, subtypes means the sub-processes under the mechanical part is. First is exfoliation, suppose. First is what called, terminology is to be clear. First process what called exfoliation. Exfoliation. So exfoliation means, that means like an onion peeling type of situation, like an onion peeling. The situation is like called onion peeling, like layer by layer, the onion when you removed, the same way the rocks layer by layer is under removal. That is called exfoliation. So this arises due to the temperature fluctuation, temperature change with day and night or seasons, whatever the conditions, or summer and winter. So, try to understand, it arises due to what? Temperature fluctuation. So, exfoliation arises due to, it's a physical process. Suppose this is a rock. This is a rock. Under heat, high temperature, rocks undergo expansion. Outer layer undergo what? Expansion. So, it becomes this layer. During expansion and due to heating. Then when cooling takes place, these rocks undergo contraction. Outer layers undergo contraction and it goes inside the outer layer. So this is a regular contraction and expansion. So onion peeling arises due to regular what? Contraction and expansion of outer layer. Of outer layer. Due to fluctuation in temperature, what happened? Due to fluctuation in temperature, at any order of temperature, it's not like absolute, any value is required. Any temperature means change in temperature leading to regular contraction and expansion. When the outer layer get heated up, it expands with the day or night, whatever. When it get cooled down, the outer layer contract. So this regular contraction and expansion make the outer layer tensile strength weaker. When it becomes weaker, it falls. It falls here, and this is like these rocks collected into the rock debris. So the rock debris, this is a rock. When this is rock debris are collected at the bottom of, it do not move anywhere. So this is called secrete also. Secrete is nothing but rock debris that collected at the big rock, which is formed due to the process of weathering only. You got this terminology cleared? When big rock undergo exfoliation or any kind of weathering, the material eroded or it's broken down and falls thereon. It's like rock debris, which is collected at the foothills of the big rock. That is called secrete. SECREE. Now, exfoliation process is clear to everyone. So it takes place at any temperature, anywhere. The second is called frost effect, frost and heave effect. Then frost and heave effect. Second processes. Okay, HEAV, frost and heave effect or frost effect. So what happened? The second process is due to the frost effect. This only takes place when temperature fluctuation is around the 0 degree, around the freezing point. This situation happens when this event happen when temperature fluctuation take place around what? Freezing point. Freezing point, you understood what is a freezing point means 0 degree Celsius. Okay, now suppose this is a rock. This is a rock structure is there. During the daytime or night time, whatever the time is, or summers, your water percolates in the holes of a rock. Water percolates. Percolation of water is there. Percolation of water. Water gets inside the rock. Water gets inside the rock. And during the night or winters, when water freezes, means it reaches below the temperature, below this temperature, less than 0 degree, it gets freezes. So it turn into what called ice. It turn into ice. So it exert the pressure on the edges. So this means frost and heave effect. First frost, then it is turning into heave. This like ice crystal growth. This nothing but called ice crystal growth is happening in the rocks. So this ice, we know, ice covered larger volume than the water. So as a result, ice crystal growth acting as a wedge, and it will divide the rock into 2 or more pieces. Is it? So that is called frost and heave effect. So our ice crystal growth mechanism is. So you know, this phenomena of ice crystal growth, where you see with geographies higher latitude and higher altitude. This higher altitude, higher mountainous region, higher altitudes and higher latitude, you can experience frost effect, frost heave effect, or ice crystal growth mechanism a lot. So what will happen of this situation? Bigger rock, you know, if you see that bigger rock is broken down into 2 pieces, isn't it or not? Or this, you can see the exact divide actually. Big rocks, no one can break, but this process, with the passage of time, it gets broken down. So you can see the gap. So, and finally, with the passage of time, it broken down into pieces. This is called block disintegration. This process called what? Block or granular disintegration. What is the byproduct of this frost and heave effect on the higher latitude and higher altitude areas? It will break the bigger rocks into granules or blocks. This concept is called what? Block or granular disintegration. Is it clear? Getting clear? So the area is filled with rocks of different shape and size. Is it clear? Called block or granular disintegration. These 2 processes are cleared. So that means this granular disintegration take place at which temperature fluctuation? Around freezing point. But exfoliation can take place at any temperature changes, any temperature change. Okay, now third process, little water action, hydration, not hydraulic action, not hydration. Third is called hydraulic action. Hydraulic action. So the physical impact of water is a friction. You know, when the water physically hit the rock, then such action is called what? So it's nothing but a friction between, just like a friction between water and the rock. So, and friction between water and the rock leading to its weathering. Friction between, so direct water is hitting the rocks. And this action is especially in the river banks, in the river when running water is hitting it, or in the sea coast. In the sea coast, these are the 2 areas their hydraulic actions are more. In the river banks, river water is hitting running water, or the sea coast, which water is moving. Hydraulic action is more. Okay, even sometime when this snow start melting and turning into a river, that also the same we can put back. So hydraulic action, physical action. Next is called abrasion. Next exercise is called abrasion or also called corrosion. Next word which is used, put into use is what called abrasion or corrosion. C-O-R-A-S-S-I-O, corrosion or abrasion is. Abrasion is a friction between any agent. Friction between, it's a general term, between any agent with the rock. So only hydraulic is water. For any agent, it's a friction between any agent with the rock called as what? Abrasion or corrosion is. So undergo the breaking part. Now, next is attrition. Next process is called what? Attrition. Next process is what called attrition. It's all are physical or mechanical processes. All are physical or mechanical sub-processes. Next is called attrition. So attrition is under transportation. Under transportation, the rocks collide under movement by air, water, whatever the agent is. Under transportation, rock debris collide and break down. Collide and further break down. This is called as what? Attrition. You understood? Under the movement, suppose in a riverbed or a snow-covered area, whatever this, along with the river, the small rock debris, whatever is produced earlier weathering, is under motion. Under what called? Motion. And under the motion, they themselves collide and further break down. So this process is called attrition. So it is a friction, it's a kind of a friction among the rock debris, no agent. So it is what called friction among the rock debris itself, among the rocks. Okay, that's called, next is called plucking. One more process I'm just putting is plucking, P-L-U-C-K-I-N-G, plucking, all a physical process. Next process we call what? Plucking. So under the plucking, what happened? The glacier under movement. Glacier, you know the glacier has a one property. When it is moving, it is actually, okay, let me put it as a case study. Just very simple. Okay, just one question you try to understand, guys. With bare hands, you try to hold or touch the very cold objects. What will happen? Louder. Correct? That's our very coldest places if you visit, it is written, do not touch with the bare hands. You've read this caution, anyone? Okay, if you have not read or not written, even you touched it, what is going to happen? Imagine. Suppose you very cold around minus 15, minus 10 degrees temperature is there and openly and you go and touch that object. Suppose iron bar, rod, just standing and touching it. So then, okay, after that, you try to remove your hand, it will stick to it actually. And only one possibility when you by force you try to apply, skin and the flesh will attach with it automatically. So this is what called as plucking actually happen. When the snow glacier is under movement, when glacier is under movement, the rocks which is touching it undergo a tearing process. Which process? Tearing. Stick to it and like this and get teared. So the tearing of the rocks due to the movement of a glacier called what? Plucking is. Tearing of rocks, just breaking down of rocks by the glacial movement, by the glacial movement. Well, so this plucking is caused by what? Glacial movement. It's a physical movement. especially by the next is called deflation. Deflation is by the wind action. Deflation by the wind action. Deflation exercises a physical action, so removal. When it is wind is, so these all are mechanical process or physical process. So there is no chemical composition is under change in all the 6-7 process, sub-process we've undergone caused by different agents. Now, so what is the output of mechanical weathering or physical weathering? Think of what is an output. Output, you get sediments. Finally, rock, bigger rock broken down into smaller rock debris. And this is not the very fine rock debris. So you get a different size. The output of what is an outcome of a physical or mechanical weathering is any agents and anywhere it's happening. What is an outcome? So right, it produces sediments of different size. It produces sediments of different size. So first is a big rock. Try to understand. Big rock, bigger rock broke down into rock debris. Rock debris further broke down into several sediments. So even the sediments on the basis of size, we already have seen that it is grouped into following categories. The biggest is called gravel. Next, smaller than the gravel called sand, silt, clay, and the finest is the mud. Finest is the mud. So we know already yesterday we was talking about the sediment size. So gravels, here it does not produce much clay and mud. The physical weathering, the mechanical weathering do not produce the fine textured like clay and mud. So clay and mud is considered the fine textured material. Which is the fine textured material is clay and mud. So the mechanical process not able to do this, clay formation and the mud formation. So who can do the so what the physical or mechanical weathering able to do? They produce gravel, sand and silt in large quantity. So gravel itself is of different sizes. Biggest is called boulders, and then cobbles, pebbles, and the smallest called granules. These all are different types of the gravels are boulders, cobbles, pebbles, and the granules. These are the different sizes. So they do produce. So in the mechanical weathering, we can find out all these particles. All this. They're coarse textured materials, not fine textured. When you have these are all are appeared as stones, nothing else. Different sizes of what? Stones you can see. Called gravels, sand, silt. It's used for construction thing. So it's a fine, nothing is fine here. So it's called a coarse texture. Clay and mud is called fine texture. So right. Coarser textured material. Coarser textured material. Now this an outcome is this. Now come to the second type of weathering. What is the second type of weathering called? Chemical weathering. So coarse textured is gravel, sand, silt, all the three called coarse textured material. This is the easy topics, not tough. Now second process called chemical weathering. Second type of weathering called chemical weathering. What happened, guys, in this chemical weathering is, what happened in the chemical weathering? Chemical process, chemical reactions, right? Chemical weathering. Chemical weathering. Right. Here chemical process is dominant. Here chemical process is dominant to produce fine textured material, right. Where does this chemical weathering happen more? In the humid climatic conditions. So this system is more operative under what called humid climatic condition. This is when rainfall water amount is good. So where this process of chemical weathering happen, condition is what called humid climatic condition, good rainfall, moist areas. So humid means what called moist climatic condition. Okay, where the rainfall is more than 100 centimeter. Rainfall is what? More than 100 centimeter in a year. That means the rain condition, if you think of moist, I mean here is rain is more than this situation. This is one. Annually, the rainfall is more than 100 centimeter. That area we are defining as a moist or humid. Okay, this is one part. So even second condition required a special geological condition. First is humid climatic condition. Second is called geologically geological conditions. Second is a geological condition which, okay, geological condition contain carbonate rocks, especially CO3, carbonate rocks. Which rocks? Carbonate rocks. Now, this first will give you water. First will give the what called water. Humid condition is giving water. Geological condition is giving is what called carbonate. When they undergo meeting, so what will happen to the carbonate rocks? Right, hydrocarbon, not hydrocarbon, sir. Okay, carbonic acid. It will form what called, not hydrocarbon, something different. Or okay, just got it. This is called which acid? Carbonic, HCO3, right? Carbonic acid for general called carbonic acid. It will form which acids? So reaction between water and the carbonates will produce different types of carbonic acids. Now look, these acids will go under reactions. Whenever it is water is now carbonic acid is going and reacting with the water. So this any acid is what called acting as a bleaching agent. Bleaching agent or eroding agent. It undergo weathering. That means nothing but even these little harder rocks, even they could be bleached or weathered by carbonic acids. So you got it, when carbonic acids are passing over it, it may eat up that matter and remove the material and finally turning into a what called clay rich or mud rich matter, produce what clay and the mud rich. So fine, when it is not breaking into bigger rocks, block, gravel, sand, it is not producing this. This produces finally what called clay or mud. It produces. So chemical weathering output is a fine textured material actually. Fine textured material like clay and the mud has been produced by this process. So apart from this, what are the other things? This is the most active process in the chemically. So what are the different chemical reactions happen? What are the different chemical reactions happen and which is also part of this weathering is? I am giving sub-processes. First is carbonation reaction. First is what called carbonation. First reaction is called what? Carbon. The reaction with the carbon is there. Reaction with what called? Carbon is there. Okay, next is hydration reaction. Hydration means addition of water. Addition of water. I'm giving it short. Next is called hydrolysis, so chemically I am talking about removal of water, removal of water. Next is solution. When it's called solution means just turn into ions, dissolve actually. The material dissolve and turn a part of a solution, solute and solute, and the material all solute dissolve in the water or any kind, it's called solutions. So ionic state, it turn into which state? When it dissolve, it turn into ionic state. You already know. Just suppose when salt dissolve, NaCl dissolve in water, it becomes Na positive and Cl negative. It's called ionic state. So it becomes charged particle, that means. It's called solution. Solution is a chemical format. Okay. This is called chelation, one reaction called chelation reaction. CHELATION. CHELATION. Chelation is a reaction happen in the cold climates. Cold climates, because of metal compound, these are forming a metal acidic compounds. So chelate, CHELAT, chelate is a compound, silica rich compound formed. Chelate is a silica rich compound formed under which climate? Cold climate, where metal acid compounds are there, acid and metal compounds, chelation. So even this called carbonation reactions are there, all these etc. Is it clear? So all these are, even suppose reaction with oxygen called oxidation, many are there. So rusting and other things happen. Okay? Rusting and other things is a part of this oxidation process only. Reaction with oxygen, water. So rusting is again oxygen, water, all this is also there called rusting. So these are a different chemical process by which when it act on a rock, it will finally turn out to be a fine textured material. So this is the second type of weathering. So it do not take place all the places, but it takes in some specialized area like humid climate or the acidic areas or the colder climates for chelate compound, or when water actions are there, and all these are the locations. So now come to the third type of the weathering called as biological weathering. Third type of weathering called biological weathering. Biological weathering, guys. So name itself is suggesting who is an agent here or what is the process? Biology, right? Here biological agents, such as plants, animals, microorganisms, biological agents such as plants, animals, microorganisms undergo biophysical and biochemical process. Plants, animals, microorganisms undergo what? Biophysical and or actually not, or both, whatever do. Biophysical and what called biochemical process to break down bigger rocks into smaller rocks. To break down bigger rocks into smaller rocks. Okay, to break down big rocks. That kind of weathering we call what? Examples now. So biological weathering is an action of plants, animal, or Suppose physical, one example I am talking about, one chemical. One is a biophysical and one example of biochemical. You're getting this separation. Okay, the plants and animals, suppose the roots of plants. Roots of plants act as a wedge, and break down the rocks into two or more pieces. So this is a what kind of weathering, physical or chemical or biophysical or biochemical? Biophysical. It's suppose like the just boring by rodents or by earth animals, just okay, by animals. There are certain animals, they do drilling. They do what called drilling or boring. So this drilling or like rodents, snakes, rabbits, etc. So all these are what? Biophysical again. Now, biochemical, so this chelation reaction which you talked about, chelation reaction do not happen on their own. So certain acids released by the plant release what? Acids. And this acid reacts with the rocks and that help to combine metal and form different metal compounds in the acidic environment. So chelation is with the help of some plant acids. They are released. So plant release certain acids that combine with the rocks and form some metal compounds of silica, metal compounds of silica, that is called chelate compound. Chelation is a reaction, it's a biochemical process. Suppose even algae and other, especially algae and other under the sea. Algae is called oozes. Remember, organic rocks, remembered anyone? Organic rocks yesterday or day before yesterday we did? Day before yesterday, okay. Then Friday we did, no? On Friday, okay. On oozes, what you remembered oozes, there are called, oozes is a type of silica rich, so this is nothing but is a type of algae. Oozes are same as what? Algae, and this algae undergo this weathering actually, and that act on. Nothing but it also form a chelate compound. Remembered? Chelate. Chelate is a compound formed by this process only. The silica rich compound. So you can understand this. Next is certain animals, especially bacteria, some bacteria and fungus, some microorganisms, especially bacteria and fungus releases acids and enzymes. Release what? Acids. All enzymes are acidic. Okay, releases what called acids or enzyme that will do weathering directly. So these are the different biological weathering. Now today, natural rate of weathering is due to human activities are on increase, right? The next part, fourth type, anthropogenetic weathering. Anthropogenetic weathering. It's a kind of biological only, you can put that. So anthropogenetic is same as what called biological too, isn't it? So anthropogenetic weathering, just 2 lines on it. Right. So human activities in the present time, right one. Human activities in the present time become very intense, right, become very intense, that resulting into the acceleration of natural rate of weathering, resulting into acceleration means increase. Acceleration of natural rate of weathering, acceleration of natural rate of weathering. So, okay, first up, because of technology, machinery, because of technology, machinery, human needs, human needs and demands. So, why these are on high? Because of what? Technology, machinery, human needs and demands are growing. High population pressures, population pressures, high population pressure, economic demands, socio, socio-economic policies, socio-political economic policies. So all these actually leading to changes actually. So what are the indirect factors which is leading to more human activities? Technology improvement, enhancement in the machinery, more human needs and demands are growing with the time. Population pressure is mounting and to increase settlement, everything. Economic demands are growing. Socio-political economic policies that give the sanctions of modifying the nature. All these things, all are indirect methods in by which the rate of natural weathering is on increase. Solar drilling, mining, all kind of construction you can put as an example of the exercises. Isn't it or not? On a single day, the people will come and do the dynamite and start blast the hill. Isn't it or not? No, okay, fine. There's a weather now which is taking hundreds of years done in a single day. So you got this point. So this all are natural rate of weathering. When soil erosion has been promoted, deforestation, all has become an exercise. Is it clear? So today, this become a problem. Today, this anthropogenetic weathering become the problem. So problem is what? So high rate of weathering means soil erosion will be more and it has an impact on other things, right? Problems created by human caused weathering or anthropogenetic weathering. So problem caused by what? Let's apply the environmental point. So problem created by anthropogenetic weathering. Problem created by anthropogenetic weathering. So silting has increased in the riverbeds and the water reservoirs. Okay. First issue is what? Silting. Silting of riverbeds and water reservoirs. Silting of riverbeds and water reservoir. Okay, this has increased because silting, you know the meaning of silting, the deposition of sediments that has increased because of human activity. Second point, so water storage capacity, just point by point, please do not write a paragraph for it. Second is water storage capacities decrease. So when the silting is more, naturally water storage would be, right, water storage capacities decreased. Third, when water storage capacity is decreased, what happened to the flooding situations or the drought situation? Increase, right? It accelerating what? Increasing flood and drought situations, both. So, right, in the same year, country suffered with what? Drought, water, it cannot hold the water more, and next year it leads to what? All right, or in the same year also, the floods and drought in the same year. So, increases what? The accelerate floods and droughts. Next. So, right, promote landslides, it promotes what? Landslides, promote landslides and related problems. Okay, we discussed this issue. Landslides and the related problems. So next, what? So percolation of water decreases. Percolation of water decreases when soil erosion is there. Percolation of water decreases. Percolation of water decreases. And so And so groundwater tables fall. So the groundwater tables fall and surface runoff increases. So groundwater tables falls. So groundwater table falls. Groundwater table fall. Okay, and surface runoff increases. Surface runoff increases. That further increases soil erosion. That further increases what? So this process of continued leading to land degradation. Leading to what called? Land, right. The continuous process leads to land degradation. So wherever human related weatherings are more, so and the soil erosion keep on increasing and created what called land degradation, water depletion, all these issues will be there. Deforestation, ecological imbalances. Finally, is what called ecological. So land degradation and water crisis, and third is what called ecological imbalance. 3 points you write down. This is the end result. Just can you able to relate the logics, everyone? First, land degradation, water crisis. Third is called ecological degradation. Third is called ecological degradation. All are interrelated one after the another. So just human should control their activity and follows the stop and go deterministic approaches. Clear? Better to go on which way? Stop and go deterministic approach. Okay, done.